Hello everyone, Luke Cooper here. So, tomorrow I'm going to watch Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Rescues on the Railways, on VHS, including the Snow Song in 1999, which I'm going to watch after my lunch break tomorrow. Guys, what is all this about, Thomas and Friends? What is all about? Guys, what is all about Thomas and Tank Engine and Friends Rescues on the Railways? Because he is very scary, because he is a shocked happy one, and he's crashing into a level crossing gates. Take a look at that. Oh my God, Thomas is shocked, and he's crashing through a level crossing gates. Isn't that just weird, isn't it? Thomas goes crashing through a gate because accidents can happen. Sometimes the song Accidents Will Happen had it on Rescues on the Railways and Chocolates of Fun and Sing Along with Thomas. And the US version and Sing Along with Thomas. And the US version, Racist Rescues, and the US version, Racist Rescues and Runaways, and the DVD, Thomas Gets Bumped. Oh, yeah. And the US version, Racist Rescues, and Runaways, and the DVD, Thomas Gets Bumped. That's right, Ariel. You're right. It says, brand new stories and songs, first time on video. The Brittlecroft Company, Nick Jr. It says on the bottom, including the Snow Song. Snow, 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 snow. This sounds magical. This is brilliant. Thomas crashing through a gate on a... Thomas had an accident with the level crossing gates. Here's Shock Thomas. And gate crashing on top of the spine. Brittlecroft Company. Brittle VCI and Brittlecroft. And the back. And VCI on the back. And VCI on the back. And VCI on the back. It says, the Thomas Club. Call 01 403 27 34 7 71 for details. This one has got 5 episodes from Series 5 and 4 songs from Series 5, which are all from Season 5 that match. This is brilliant. We've got here, we have storms, rescues, fallen trees, fog engines, getting lost, smelly fish, trucks out of control, and more. Which has got cranky bugs on there. Does it sound wonderful? This is brilliant. So, this one contains episodes and songs, which are cranky bugs, accidents will happen. So this one contains episodes and songs are cranky bugs, accidents will happen, James and the Trouble with Trees, Every Cloud is a Silver Lightning, Puts Upon Percy, The Snow Song, Stepney Gets Lost, It's Great to Be an Engine, and Something in the Air. For some reason, it says accidents, but it should be accidents will happen. James and Trouble with Trees should be James and the Trouble with Trees. Not James and Trouble with Trees, or James and the Trouble with Trees, or James and the Trees. It should be James and the Trouble with Trees. Snow Song, which should be The Snow Song. You know, Snow Song had it on Bumper Collection Seasonal Scrapes on VHS and DVD. It says, pull out sleeve for Sing Along with Thomas song sheets, which I don't have, which have got pictures that I made inside the 2002 re-release. There's a picture of a Better View for Gordon. There's an image from A Better View for Gordon, but that's not on the VHS. That one is from Accidents Will Happen. Gordon says, help me, please. There's an image from There's a picture of Henry with all these fish in a barge from Something in the Air, which is and his toad fall into a muddy pool in busy going backward. and his toads falling into a muddy pool from busy going backwards. But weird, that episode's not even here. There's Gordon crashing into a station wall from a better view for Gordon, and accidents will happen. That episode's not even here, but that song is on here. Let's see if the title cards can use Rescues on the Railways on YouTube. Okay, here we go. Oh, I have to wait for stupid adverts. Here we go. Title cards and bumpers. Thomas the Tank Engine and friends. Oh. Hang on. Try again. Thomas the Tank Engine and friends. Oh. Try again. Here we go. Thomas the Tank Engine and friends. Rescues on the Railways. Cranky Bugs. Let's all sing along to the first song. Accidents will happen. James in trouble with trees. Let's chuff along to the next song. Every cloud is a silver lightning. Put upon Percy. Off we go for a smashing song. The Snow Song. Stephanie gets lost. Let's sing loud for the last song. It's great to be an engine. And something in the air. This is brilliant. What do you think of that then, guys? Do you know about Cranky Bugs? Let's read the episode description. Let's read the episode descriptions. Cranky Bugs. A new crane called Cranky thinks that Thomas and Percy are just annoying bugs. He soon learns that they can be real. He soon learns Cranky Bugs. A new crane called Cranky thinks that Thomas and Percy are just annoying bugs. He soon learns that they can be really useful engines. Because he knows they might bite back. Clients are early 30s think they need a lot of attention, like being fucked. You should see the situation from Cranky's point of view. He is high up in the air, covered with wind, rain, and baking sun. but he doesn't come up. Who says little bugs? He looks up, then he looks down and sees shooting little engines being annoying. And no wonder he calls you bugs. That's right, Ariel and Shrek. Sometimes Cranky doesn't call you bugs. James in trouble with trees. When a tree puts James in danger, Thomas has to put aside his jealous... James in trouble with trees. When a tree puts James in danger, Thomas has to put aside his jealousy of James's new coats of paint and comes to the rescue. Puts upon Percy, an out-of-control freight car in the mine nearly causes disaster. Percy gets a special reward for his bravery. I've got Volcano on VHS that I'm going to watch after my dinner tomorrow. Stepney gets lost. Stepney gets lost in a fog on the way home from the mine and could end up as Scrap. What will happen? Yikes! Bluebells forever. Something in the air. Henry teases... Something in the air. Henry teases Thomas when he ends up in a fishy mess, but soon a laugh is on Henry. Do you know why? When Cranky falls on his side, when the tramp steamer crashes into a shed, knocking Cranky over and fell onto his sides with a crash. Who says, "Ah! Help! Call the engines from inside. Call the engines from inside the shed. I can't!" called Cranky pathetically. And James saw the tree, went, "Ooh, help!" cried James. "Go away!" The tree couldn't move. Thomas comes to the rescue. "Peep, peep, I'm ready. So am I. As ready as I'll ever be." And when the trucks are out of control in the mine shaft, there was trouble twice. The trucks are stuck in a mechanism. All they need is a good shuffle. Do it right away. Percy charged the line of trucks. They pushed too fast and too hard. The trucks broke free, ran out of control to the mines below and crashed inside the mine, and there was trouble again. "Look out! Get out of here fast! The mine's collapsing! Yikes! Avalanche!" Percy has to make a run for it. There's going to be an avalanche. There's a rock slide. There's a caviar's buried by the truck that might save us. Yikes! The miners did not know that either. The avalanche has buried an engineer's crew. Everyone must help them right away. So Stepney gets lost in a fog who does everything so spooky. You know, Stepney was in the scrapyards, who cries out, "Oh no, we're in the scrapyards!" And when Harry and Bert came to push Stepney into the smelter sheds, let's have a look on images of Harry and Bert. Here we go. There they are. Got you this time, Stepney. You made very fine scrap indeed. Bother it, Bert. Hello, Stepney. Got you this time. You'll make very fine scrap indeed. Bother it, Bert. Bye-bye, Stepney. Harry and Bert are so scrap diesel engines, which are so evil, naughty, and scrap in a smelter's yard. The Diesels love to melt down Stepney and Oliver for being scraps from Escape and Rusty to the rescue. Stepney sees a huge grabber. This age is not for scrapping! And the grabber has to stop Stepney from being scrapped. Stepney says, "Bluebells forever," as he was going home. Back to normal. From Bowled Out. The last episode of Series 4. And a crate of fish drops down into Thomas and crashes out of the crates. Phew! What a pong! As you know why? Henry is pulling the flying... As you know why? Henry is pulling the flying kipper from the 5th season. And Henry chuffs past James. And Henry chuffs past James pulling the mail train. Because he is soon making up for lost time. And you know what happened? In Something in the Air, Henry put his brakes on, and now he was falling into a tide. Because he still hates getting wet, and he spits water out of his mouth. Because he still hates getting wet, and he spits water... Because he still hates getting wet, and he spits water out of his mouth. Ugh. That's disgusting. By the time Henry was craned out of the water, and the tide's high enough at all for him. The tide's high enough for him. Engines don't swim, Henry. You were meant to deliver fish, not swim with them. You should know that by now. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Henry was returning to the docks in a barge full of fish. He saw Cranky the crane up above. He was looking down at Henry below. My, Henry, I expect you to have some fishy tales to tell, but take my advice, have a long hose down first. My, Henry, I expect you to have some fishy tales to tell, but take my advice, have a long hose down first. Oh, yeah. Who says, my, Henry, I expect you to have some fishy tales to tell, but take my advice, have a long hose down first. Look. Let's have a look. Look at that. Look. They caught all this fish and a green whale too. It's not a whale. It's a monster. Oh dear. Poor Henry was most upset. He's a monster. And Thomas has to help Henry to take him for a nice hot wash down. And he's going to be feeling much... Thomas has to help Henry to take him for a nice hot wash down, and he's going to be feeling much better after that. Smells something fresh air. This one comes in a black case. There's the tape. VCI on the label. As you can see here, the label is a tiny bit. It's got a tiny less dirty, but take place fine. But take place fine for a little bit. It says, insert this side into recorder. Do not touch tape inside. VHS. I'll tell you why. Cranes are airy fairy things. Cranes are airy fairy things. They need a lot of attention, like me, in fact. As you can see the situation from Cranky's point of view. He is high up in the air, covered with wind, rain, and baking sun, and he looks down and sees you two little engines being annoying, and no wonder he calls you bugs. As you can see, Henry has got smelly fish in a barge after he's falling down into the sea. Because he hates getting wet. Same as the first season of the sad story of Henry, or Come Out Henry, if you're in America. Oh. Just give me a minute, I need to FaceTime in my room, in my room. Oh, I'm back. I was FaceTiming Martin in Mum's room while Mum's asleep. Did you know about the situation when Henry has got smelly fish in a barge after he's falling into the sea? In the first season episode, The Sad Story of Henry, or Come Out Henry, if you're in America. And in season 4, Henry and the Elephants. You know, 4 different episodes on 4 different seasons. Henry hates getting wet in The Sad Story of Henry, Henry and the Elephants, and Something in the Air. This is weird. This is so wicked. Who has accidents, storms, danger rescues, and actions. Ugh. Sorry about that. FaceTime ringing on my iPad. Oh, sorry about that. So anyway, let's see if the first episode of Cranky Bugs, when Cranky falls onto his side. So, here we go. Let's watch my dangerous part again. Let's watch my stormy parts of Cranky Bugs, shall we?
That evening, a big storm raged across the island. Cranky and the big engines were trapped at the docks. "We're sure to be safe in this shed," said Doug, but he was wrong. The engines have no idea that they were about to be causing great danger by an old tramp steamer. It was out of control and running aground straight into the sheds. Called the engines from inside the shed. I can't, called Cranky pathetically. When the storm was over, the Fat Controller rushed to the scene of destruction. "Thomas and Percy will help you," he called to Cranky. "Then you can help the engines." "Oh, please, hurry!" cried Cranky. "And tell them I'm sorry I was rude to them." "So it was you," said the Fat Controller. "I owe these engines an apology." Thomas and Percy soon came to the rescue. And it wasn't too long before Cranky was upright again and clearing the wreckage. At last, all the engines were free. "Oh, thank you," said Gordon. "What would I have done without you?" "Well, I had to be rescued before I could help you, but I never thought it might be a couple of Cranky was about to say bugs, but he quickly corrected himself. "Small engines for thank you. I'll never be rude again. However, you two mites are in my way, so move over." "Ah," said Percy, "he's back to bugging us. Don't move, he's still attached to Cranky." But it was too late. Cranky still looks down on the two. Move. Attached. Back to bugging us. "Ah," said Percy, "he's back to bugging us. Don't move, he's still attached to Cranky." But it was too late. Cranky still looks down on the two little engines. Whenever since that stormy night.
Now here's the next one for James and the Trouble with Trees. Here we go.
By the time he arrived at the yards, the weather had changed for the worse. Your colour's nice, James. Pity about your face, folks, at the truck. James ignored them and set off. Soon they came to a hill, and his driver knew they were in for a difficult time. An old tree close to the track was being blown by the strong winds, and the rain had weakened the slope. All of a sudden the tree moved. "Oh, help!" cried James. "Go away!" But of course the tree couldn't.
Oh. Hang on. Try again. Here we go.
By the time he arrived at the yards, the weather had changed for the worse. "Your colour's nice, James. Pity about your face, folks, at the truck." James ignored them and set off. Soon they came to a hill, and his driver knew they were in for a difficult time. An old tree close to the track was being blown by the strong winds, and the rain had weakened the slope. All of a sudden the tree moved. "Oh, help!" cried James. "Go away!" But of course the tree couldn't. James tried to reverse away from the tree, but his train was too heavy. Then he heard a whistle. "It's Thomas," called his driver. James felt embarrassed and worried that Thomas would laugh at him. But Thomas didn't. He knew this was no time for teasing. "Beep, beep, I'm ready," whistled Thomas. "So am I," James replied, "as ready as I'll ever be." They were just in time. That evening, James spoke to Thomas.
Brilliant! They were just in time. Here's the music of Spencer and the Strawberry Trees. There. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Let's watch my favourite part. Let's watch this second part again, shall we?
By the time he arrived at the yards, the weather had changed for the worse. "Your colour's nice, James. Pity about your face, folks, at the truck." James ignored them and set off. Soon they came to a hill, and his driver knew they were in for a difficult time. An old tree close to the track was being blown by the strong winds, and the rain had weakened the slope. All of a sudden the tree moved. "Oh, help!" cried James. "Go away!" But of course the tree couldn't. James tried to reverse away from the tree, but his train was too heavy. Then he heard a whistle. "It's Thomas," called his driver. James felt embarrassed and worried that Thomas would laugh at him. But Thomas didn't. He knew this was no time for teasing. Beep, beep, I'm ready, whistled Thomas. So am I, James replied, as ready as I'll ever be. They were just in time. That evening, James spoke to Thomas.
Percy and Terence are right to warn me. Thank you for rescuing. James says thank you for rescuing me, Thomas. But we angels must pull together whatever the weather sometimes. Just wait for it. Let's just wait for it. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this third one. Let's watch this. Okay. Let's watch this third one. Let's watch this third one now, shall we? Okay. Let's watch the third one now, shall we?
Next morning, he took some trips to the coal yards. Then he had to push empty ones to the mine shaft. When he arrived, there was trouble. The foreman spoke to his driver. The trucks were stuck on the mechanism. All they need is a good shove. We'll do it right away. Percy shunted back to a large canvas barrier which used to protect his line from loose rocks. Percy charged at a lot of trucks, too fast and too hard. Oh no, cried Percy. The trucks broke free but ran out of control to the mines below. On, faster, faster, the silly trucks yelled. Then there was trouble again. Get out of here, fast, the mine's collapsing. We'll just have to make a run for it, Percy called his driver. There's going to be an avalanche, wailed Percy, and he was right. Where still the track he was on began to crumble. Then he remembered something he had seen earlier. There's a canvas barrier by the track, that might save us. They were just in time. Percy was right. The canvas did indeed save them, but the miners didn't know that. The avalanche is buried in engine and his crew, shouted the foreman. We must help them. Immediately. When Percy had been rescued, the Fat Controller spoke to his driver and fireman, then to Percy. Driver told me how brave you were, Percy, and I'm very proud of you. As a reward, you'll be repainted at the works. Oh, thank you, sir.
There's the siren who blares really loudly to clear the mine. Who says, "Get out." Let's hear it. Let's hear it again, shall we? Get out of here fast! The mine's collapsing! Oh, wicked! Let's hear the sound of Put Upon Percy, who plays the siren that wails for the mine to collapse, and it's going to be an avalanche. Let's see how you can get it. Oh. Let's see if we can get it, shall we? Oh. Right, you ready? Here we go. See if you can get it. Oh. Hang on. Let's hear the sound of a siren wails. Let's hear the siren wails. And when you get no one. Okay. Let's see if you can get it. When an avalanche. See if you can get it when the avalanche appears. Here we go. See if you can get it.
Percy was right. The canvas did indeed save them, but the miners didn't know that. The avalanche has buried an engine and its crew. We must help them immediately.
Wow, this is wicked! This is so brilliant. Okay. Okay. You know what, guys? Let's watch the next part. Let's watch the next part of when Stepney gets scrapped by those two diesels, Harry and Bert's. Shall we?
Right, Kate. Be careful, Stepney, advised Toby. I will, and thank you for a lovely day. I do hope I can come back again. The light could be spooky, said Mavis. Thanks for the warning. And with that, Stepney puffed away into the night. Stepney made it on time and delivered rocks and stone for the workmen. Then he set off for home. That's when the trouble began. The fog came down. Mavis was right. Suddenly everything does look spooky. There's the signal box and the signal light is green. Someone must have been expecting us. The points had been set in the wrong direction, but Stepney didn't realise this. Home here we come, he thought. Soon they approached an unknown area. The driver made a decision. It's best if we rest here until the fog clears. What are those strange sounds? Pointed Stepney. Then the fog slowly lifted. Oh no! Wailed Stepney. We're in the scrapyard. His driver and fireman went for help. Stepney was all alone, but not for long. Two diesels approached. Got you this time, Stepney. You'll make very fine scrap indeed, Buffer and Bert. Got you this time, Stepney. You'll make very fine scrap indeed, Buffer and Bert. The diesels took him to a large smelting shed. Bye-bye, Stepney, said the diesel. Bye-bye, Stepney, said the diesel. Stepney looked up. Above him was a huge grabber. This engine's not for scrapping, shouted Stepney. The grabber wasn't listening, but just as it was about to grab hold of him, it stopped. There. Shouted Stepney.
Bye-bye, Stepney!
Said the diesel. Stepney looked up. Above him was a huge grabber. This engine's not for scrapping, shouted Stepney. The grabber wasn't listening. But just as it was about to grab hold of him, it stopped. There stood the Fat Controller. It's a good job I've visited this yard tonight. Saving you from scram is going to be a habit, Stepney. Please stop it. Yes, sir, but I have learned something. What's that? There's no place like home, and that's exactly where you're going now.
Bluebells forever. You know what? Let's hear the siren wails when Percy has an avalanche. Got buried in the mine again. Let's watch the first. Let's watch that third part again, shall we? See if you can get it.
Get out of here fast! The mine's collapsing! We'll just have to make a run for it, Percy, called his driver. There's going to be an avalanche, wailed Percy. And he was right. Worse still, the track he was on began to crumble. Then he remembered something he had seen earlier. There's a canvas barrier by the track. That might save us. They were just in time. Percy was right. The canvas did indeed save them, but the miners didn't know that. The avalanche has buried an engine and its crew. We must help them immediately.
Wow, great, brilliant, wicked. Let's get back to Harry and Bert from Stepney Gets Lost, shall we? we go. See if you can get it. Oh. Ah, yeah. See if you can get it. See if you can get the words to this moment. See if you can get it. Here we go. Oh. See if you can get it to the words. Here we go.
Got you this time, Stepney. You'll make very fine scrap indeed. Buffering Bert. Bye-bye, Stepney, said the diesel.
Wicked. You know what? Let's see. You know what? Let's watch the last part of when Henry falls into a tide. Okay. Let's see if the final part of when Henry falls into the tide that has got damaged by a track. High tides are damaging the track. That I mark the spots. It's safe enough to me. Safe enough for him. Safe enough for him too. Safe enough for me. You know what, guys? You know what? Let's watch the last one again. You know what? You know what? You know what? Let's watch the last parts of when Henry falls into the sea, shall we?
Henry was waiting anxiously for Thomas's trucks. Why, you're late, and that smell is making me ill. I can't help it. It's the fish, replied Thomas, and there's danger on the rails. That's why we're late. Ha! You're the only danger on the rails, Thomas. Now stop wasting time and get your trucks each to my train. Thomas's driver and fireman were in the yardmaster's office when they heard Henry's whistle. There he was steaming out of the station with his own heavy train called the Flying Kipper. What route is Henry taking tonight? Asked the driver at the coastal run. It's the quickest, but I told you that's dangerous for a big engine like Henry. The yardmaster quickly phoned the signalman. Henry roared past the signal box. I'll soon make up for lost time. The signalman was answering the telephone but couldn't hear the warning. By the time he did, Henry was far away in a cloud of steam. Oh, when Henry reached the coastal track, his hose were faster than the staff. Fog floated everywhere.
Oh, hang on. Let's start again.
coastal up.
Oh, start again. You know what, guys? Let's watch that final part of when Henry falls into the tide and gets covered in fish. Shall we? Let's watch the final part of when Henry falls into the sea with some fish. Shall we?
Henry was waiting anxiously for Thomas's trucks. Why, you're late, and that smell is making me ill. I can't help it. It's the fish, replied Thomas, and there's danger on the rails. That's why we're late. Ha! You're the only danger on the rails, Thomas. Now stop wasting time and get your trucks each to my train. Thomas's driver and fireman were in the yardmaster's office when they heard Henry's whistle. There he was steaming out of the station with his own heavy train called the Flying Kipper. What route is Henry taking tonight? Asked the driver at the coastal run. It's the quickest, but I told you that's dangerous for a big engine like Henry. The yardmaster quickly phoned the signalman. Henry roared past the signal box. I'll soon make up for lost time. The signalman was answering the telephone but couldn't hear the warning. By the time he did, Henry was far away in a cloud of steam. Oh, when Henry reached the coastal track, his hopes were faster than that. Fog floated everywhere. I can't see As soon as the tide was high enough, Henry was craned out of the water. Engines don't swim, Henry. You were meant to deliver fish, not swim with them, said the fire controller. You should know that by now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When Henry arrived at the docks, Cranky the Crane looked down at him disdainfully. My, Henry, I expect you have some fishy tales to tell, but take my advice. Have a long hose down first. Whew, hissed Henry, but there was worse to come. Look, said the child, they caught all this fish in a green whale too. It's not a whale, it's a monster. Henry felt very sad. Thomas now felt sorry for Henry. Come on, he said. Your driver says it's time for your hot wash down. Then you'll feel much better.
Brilliant! This is cool and wicked. This is so wicked. So when my iPads are ringing on my phone when I'm filming, so I had to go back in Mum's room to FaceTime Martin. So then I had to go back to my room to carry on with this thing. We got all parts of Rescues on... We got all 5 parts of Rescues on the Railways. With lots of dangerous... With lots of dangerous things and lots of actions of Thomas the Tank Engine. This is so brilliant. As you know why? Cranky is high up in the air with caping wind and rain, baking sun, and looks up and down and sees the other engines being annoying, who calls him bugs. Oh, gotta go back to Mum's room again. I'm back again. Sorry about that again. I was FaceTiming Martin in Mum's room twice. Let's see this bit when Martin says of Hydro Animation's bit parts. Let's hear the favourite funny part now, shall we?
Dogs are always painting themselves black. You idiot!
So, as you know why, you should see the situation. As you know why, Cranky the Crane is his first day at the docks in season 5 when he saws the situation when Cranky's pointing at you. When Cranky's pointing as he can see the situation when Cranky's pointing at us. But he is high in the air with coping wind and rain and baking sun, and he looks up and down and sees the other engines being annoying who cause us bugs. And when Henry falls into the sea, who craned out into a barge with all these fishes from something in the air. Smelly fish. Henry hates getting wet, but he needs a wash down. Isn't it so weird when Henry falls into the tide with disaster? Okay, that's it for now, guys. I'm going to watch Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Rescues on the Railways on VHS in 1999 after my lunch, after Children's TV Favourites Volume 2, and before Volcano after my dinner. I will see you later. So if I can watch Thomas... So if I can see you all later... So if I can see you all later... So... Let's do the second one again, shall we?
Dogs are always painting themselves black. You idiot!
That was so funny. Anyway, that's all for now still, guys. So I'm going to watch Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Rescues on the Railways on VHS in 1999 after my lunch tomorrow after Children's TV Favourites Volume 2 and Volcano after my dinner. So I will see you all later. So if I can watch Rescues on the Railways on VHS after my lunch. Peep, peep. Goodbye. See you all later. Lights, cameras, storms, disasters, action!